Today in the show, we're going to talk about something that's on a lot of people's minds at the moment. Are comics in danger? So it's just turned out that DC Comics has made a loss of over $2 million. And it's also turned out that Secret Wars isn't going to finish till December. Now, both of these scare me for two very different reasons. Let's start with DC because that's the more solid reason. So since the start of the New 52, DC has had the issue where anything that's not Batman doesn't sell. Superman has been plummeting in sales, the Teen Titans are lower than they've ever been, and then Batgirl is weirdly doing really well, but for some reason DC are crapping all over it, saying they're not going to Batgirl their titles anymore. All in all, DC are just in a really bad situation, but they have been here before. So back in the 80s, DC was just a constant loss for Time Warner, who owned DC. No matter what DC tried, they just couldn't make a profit. So eventually Time Warner went to Marvel Comics and basically said, hey Marvel, you want to buy DC Comics? And this never happened in the end. DC was able to try and create some events, try some very new things, and they were able to gain a profit. But the thing is, we are going in that direction once again. So DC needs to pull something out of the hat to try and gain a profit. A whole list of things has gone on here. First off, you need to take into account that DC has just moved from New York to LA. That is a massive move that's going to be very expensive. But on top of that, they released a dud of an event that no one really liked. I mean, people liked the spin-offs from Convergence, but no one liked the main story of Convergence. And because of that, it didn't really sell all that well. And since Convergence, DC sales haven't really recovered, and I feel like I understand why. They've dumped continuity, basically. They're saying creativity over continuity, which in theory is a nice idea. But the reason people like DC and Marvel Comics, the reason people read the big two, is because they're not just stories. They're all set in this interlinking universe, and each comic is like a window into that universe. It's your monthly window into that universe, which makes it feel special. If you just wanted a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, you'd just read indie comics. With this expansive multiverse that had all of these interlinking stories, and you'd see one aspect of another story in one issue, and then the main story was going on somewhere totally different, that was really special, and it was a really unique way of telling stories. And there is no reason we couldn't get it right in this day and age, but for some reason DC have chosen to drop it. But that was the thing that made them special, so dropping it to me always seemed very confusing. By removing continuity, you're turning a window into a universe into just a book. You're basically making a comic book just another comic book. And because of that, I really do feel like DC have lost touch with what made them special. When it comes to Marvel, Secret Wars, people are sick of it. I'm not even exaggerating, people are absolutely sick of it. We've got 4 more months of Secret Wars and their new line launches in 3 months, which is honestly a little bit confusing, but okay. This being said, 8 of the 10 best-selling titles last month were from Marvel. And I kind of feel like it says a lot about the quality of Marvel's storytelling at the moment, when the story that people are sick of was the #1 best-selling title. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, Marvel have had a lot of movies, you have to take that into account. No, you don't. The thing is, lots of people think that because there are lots of movies coming out, people are reading comics now more than ever before. That's not true. Look at DC sales figures, look at Marvel sales figures. They're going down. Just because there's movies doesn't mean the sales are doing well. The movies are great, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the movies, but they don't have a long-term effect on the sales of comic books, which is why I love what I do, because I really do encourage all of you, I hope, to go out and read comics. This being said, we can't really judge the future of Marvel until Secret Wars is over, which, you know what, I'm fine with doing. All in all, I really do love Marvel and DC. I care about them both so much, and I wouldn't be speaking badly about them if I didn't care. I do feel like for DC, they just need to look back at what they did from like 1986 till 2006, and see what they did there, because really for me that was the peak time of DC. That's when DC was at its best for me personally. The reason this particular time period is special is because DC and Marvel didn't care what TV shows were doing. They didn't care what movies were doing. They just did their thing. They didn't care if something didn't work on TV or if it didn't work in a movie, because they weren't TV and movies. They were comic books. Comics were comics, and it didn't matter what was on TV and it didn't matter what was on the big screen. And I feel like they do need to go back to that, because at the end of the day, even though they're being adapted into movies, that's exactly it. They're being adapted. They don't have to adapt themselves into the movies. It's super effective! Okay guys, that is it for today. Sorry, this was kind of hard for me to articulate. I really do care about this situation a lot, and obviously I'm quite passionate about comics in general, but what do you think of this situation? If you understood what I meant, please let me know in the comments down below. And also don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more history videos. And also don't forget to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, support the show by checking out my Patreon so I can make bigger and better and more history videos. And also don't forget to subscribe to my vlogging channel if you'd like to start your day with me every single day by watching my series, Time to Work. Anyway, my name is Faust, this has been Exploring Comics, and it is super effective.